if somebody walks into a museum and they look at a painting and it almost feels like mockery to them,
True.
they look at a painting like, I can paint that,
Or the sentiments like, oh, my 8-year-old can do that.
yes, yeah, it feels like mockery. It feels, you know, like, yeah, it just doesn't feel like like a respectful approach to the career and the mediums that artists, because artists put so much work and so much heart and purpose. Like, it is their purpose. It's what they're meant to do. It's something that they were called to do. It's a gift. It's a skill. It's, it has a lot of heart and purpose to it, right?
Are you at all concerned about the message that you encode in your art, how it will be decoded by your audience? Or do you just let it up to them to deduce what the meaning is?
Oh, this question.
I'm sorry. For a very long time, we held this idea that there isn't money in art, and obviously perpetuating the stereotypes of the struggling artist. Tell us more about how you make money in art.
Yeah, there is money in arts. They'll just start there. But
Thank you.
Yeah, it is, I don't want to, place, misconceptions or mislead people. It is tough. There are struggles. It's life, it's struggles.
Speaking of values, talk to us about the process of valuation when it comes to your art, and I guess the importance of being endorsed and sponsored by corporates or galleries or all of these people that are paramount to the process of valuation.
Yeah, it's all about, it's a combination of those things, right? Your value as an artist, the value of your work, the time that you put in, and whether or not your work is in demand at the time, and there's a season, right? The season of, like, art fairs and exhibitions and commissions and things that you are also capable of doing, and I would definitely say, as an artist, create different avenues for yourself, and this is advice for myself as well.
Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's Art, and my name is Tuli. And in studio today, we are joined by the amazing Yolanda Mazwana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Look, you are the epitome of art because you do art in its finest form. Tell me more about what you do.
I am a self-taught painter, and I also work with sculptures. I recently started doing ceramic sculptures, and yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I create, I make, I work with my hands, and yeah.
And how would you describe yourself outside of what you do?
I would say that I am generally quiet. I think people, when they describe me, they say she's like a bit quiet. But I think once you get to know me, I'm a bit goofy and bubbly and loud. But yeah, I think that's how I describe myself. I'm getting to know myself as well in these last few years. I think also turning 30 next year will put you into perspective mode, yeah. So I am just trying to figure out what my hobbies are, and what I like to do outside of the studio. It's so funny because people go to ceramic studios and painting workshops as a hobby.
I was actually about to say, isn't it that you're trying to find your hobbies, but it's what you do also can be labeled as a hobby.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So I am trying to figure out, what do I actually like to do outside of that,
Have you figured it out?
I fitness.
Is it?
It's so strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had some fitness goals, but now I'm like getting a bit obsessed, but also I live in Joburg, so there's clubs for everything. There's a
Mm.
running club,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many, there's the pedal clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been enjoying that, but it's also really good for, mental health and clarity and just, being able to process your work outside of, the studio and just,
Absolutely makes
balance.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
because some of your work, which we'll get to
Hmm.
talk about a little bit later,
Hmm.
touches on mental health,
Hmm.
which is interesting what you're saying right now, that this is what you are, passionate about right now or focusing on right now.
Hmm.
So take me back to your childhood and how you got into the creative space, because like you mentioned, you said you are self-taught.
Hmm.
So you have no formal background
Hmm.
of painting.
Hmm.
And what do you mean you're self-taught?
What I mean by that is that, yeah, I mean, it was something that I picked up in high school. And yeah, I was taking visual arts classes as well as every other subject, but that was the subject that I really, 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 really felt drawn to, and I didn't want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also just a way of me to find myself and what I'm good at, because there's the academics, there's the sports kids, there's, the dancers, and there's everyone else, and
Mm-hmm.
I had tried all of that, and
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing that really stuck with me. But yeah, I had just this deep sense and feel of like, I do need to find that one thing that I can say will give me 100%, guarantee or
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
and it won't be like a 50% mark, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that for me was visual arts. I enjoyed the art history. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the practical side of it, and it made me appreciate the fact that I am a practical learner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, it was quite interesting.
Well, it's interesting that you say you're self-taught and you have no formal background, but that to me sounds like formal background.
Not in it's an introduction.
Okay.
It is an introduction because visual arts in high school is that
Mm-hmm.
basically, but after that you do need to get into tertiary education and
Mm-hmm.
get a degree or that. And I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get into university,
Mm-hmm.
so I did have to you know get more self-educated
Mm-hmm.
from there.
Find more avenues.
Yeah.
And with that, did you find it challenging to cement yourself in the space without having formal background to what
Yes.
you do?
Yes, it was a bit of a long journey,
Mm-hmm.
just because I was doing it alone,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to really figure out, where to go, who to ask, where do I begin, and creating that list of things and stages, and
Mm-hmm.
it was quite tricky,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I eventually got there, which was great.
How did you do that?
Um, I was a Brahm kid, so
Lord, what's the other word for a female Bram kid? Because the boys are called the Bram lords. So
I have
now
no
the
idea.
females, what are they?
I have no clue, but
Yeah, so
yeah,
you're one of those.
yeah, yeah, a lot of my early teens were not teens, sorry, my early 20s
Mm-hmm.
I spent in Brahm,
Mm-hmm.
because the art culture there was insanely amazing,
Still to this day,
still to this
yeah.
day. So I would go to Wits, I would just hang out there at the Wits Art Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I would hang out at Stevenson's when it was still in Brahm,
Mm-hmm.
Kalashnikov when it was still in Brahm. A lot of these galleries have now moved to Rosebank, but at the time, that was like the place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I would go around asking the gallery assistants and the receptionist, and
Mm-hmm.
hey, where does one go if they want
Mm-hmm.
to have creative development outside of
Mm-hmm.
formal education? And they would share that information, which
Mm-hmm.
was beautiful, that there was no gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ladies, I wish I could remember her name. She was so kind. She wrote me a list. She wrote me a whole list, and she was like, try this place, try that place, try this place, try Back Factory, and you'll see. Do some research, do a lot of research. So I did a lot of research, and I landed at Back Factory, and I applied for the Young Women's Bursary Award, which is a 12-month funded studio. So I was like, okay, this is great.
Incredible.
So I put myself out there. I applied for the bursary, and I got it. I had this free studio for 12 months.
Amazing.
And yeah, I got materials, and I was surrounded by mentors, established artists, early emerging artists. And yeah, I had so much information just by being in that building. So, which was great. Yeah.
Interesting. So from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like talent alone is not enough to carry you.
No.
You need a lot of research. You need a lot of network.
Yes, yeah.
So don't just depend on your talent. You could be talented, but that's not the end of it.
No. I think you can be talented, but also where do you go from there? Where, like, what is the goal? What are you determined to do? And where are you going? Like, what is your end mission? And for me, I had to figure that out, and it was just step by step, but I knew that because I didn't go to university, I still needed to surround myself with teachers in a way, yeah. So going to the Back Factory was amazing because then I could ask questions. I could just knock on somebody else's door in their studio and be like, hey, how do you get this and that, and how do you use this? But also it creates that same responsibility of waking up in the morning the way you would go to school, go to your studio, have a list of things you want to do, a book you want to read, a timetable you want to set for yourself. I would do that every day where I would wake up. I didn't live that close to what is Fortsburg.
Okay.
So I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I was like, I'm spending the whole day in studio because I want to have a 9 to 5 structure or a school-like structure. So
basically to create that discipline.
Yes, to create that discipline so that you are able to, it cannot be casual. It cannot be a casual thing, because this is your career, your life.
Not a hobby.
Exactly. It's not a hobby, So yeah, I would wake up very early in the morning. My mom would drive me, or my stepdad would drive me to my studio, and they would also have to wake up,
very early for you.
Yeah, and they would drive me there. I'd get there, and then I would, write on a list of goals and things, and have coffee in the morning. I'm just like also reminiscing. It's like I'm like, oh, I was such a kid. Yeah,
how far you've gone.
Yeah, I was such a kid. I'm like, I'm just gonna, and I would just be so tired, early in the morning, and I had all the energy. Now I can't wake up at 6 a.m., which is,
You need your coffee first.
Yeah, yeah, I would just get there. I would speak to my neighboring artists, and we would talk about, what opportunities are out there, what open calls, and, and what book everyone is reading, just share information with each other. And then I'd spend the rest of the day making a new artwork. And, by the end of the 12 months, I had 15 or more paintings, and I was ready for a presentation. And yeah, it just helps you build momentum, and yeah.
Makes sense. I'm interested in your definition of art. What is art to you?
Art to me is what you create, what you make, and just there's just something, there's beauty in that as well, but something that you are uniquely skilled at. Right? Whether it be painting or sculpture making or singing or acting, and it's that is art to me.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm interested also in your take on the conversation surrounding art and what makes art. I asked my previous guest this because I really, want to find out, want to, pick your brain on this, because it is a conversation. It's quite a discourse around the art factor, right? So can anything be art? Because I know, for instance, there's been like a debate around what is art, what can be seen as art, should we gatekeep? Because every other sector or career, they have principles, they have, barrier to entry, but art seems to be that one factor that anyone can just come in, anyone can just claim that this is art. For instance, there was this infamous duct tape with a banana at a museum, and it was worth millions of dollars, and that is called art. And somebody, I guess, thought, this is crazy, I'm just gonna get the banana and eat it, then what? So can anything be art?
That is an interesting question. I think I like how you said there is a barrier and structure around it. I think that there is structure around arts. I mean, obviously, there is a few people in the art industry who have their own rebellious way of approaching the arts and the art world, and I think that could also be received really well in context. But can anything be art?
You are indifferent maybe for now.
It's just, I don't know how to answer this question, because I feel like we are in a space in the art world where we are trying to have a system and structure that works for artists who are pursuing this as a career and this as their life purpose, and those people specifically chose arts, and not as they didn't randomly say. I feel like that sentence sounds so random to say. I can be an artist, I can paint this, if somebody walks into a museum and they look at a painting, and it almost feels like mockery to them,
True.
They look at a painting like, I can paint that,
or the sentiments like, oh, my 8-year-old can
yes, yeah, it feels like mockery. It feels, like, it just doesn't feel like like a respectful approach to the career and the mediums that artists, because artists put so much work and so much heart and purpose. Like, it is their purpose. It's what they're meant to do. It's something that they were called to do. It's a gift. It's a skill. It's, it has a lot of heart and purpose to it, right? So I don't think saying anything can be art is the right approach because of that sentiment, because it's also very a difficult path to take to be an artist, because there's so many ebbs and flows, there's so many challenges and sometimes restrictions, so to say anything can be art is
could be misleading.
It can be misleading, right? Especially to artists who are doing this every single day and are, fighting, the structures of, art and, trying to navigate the career itself. Yeah.
I absolutely hear you. So you are a woman in this space, and I feel like, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there is underrepresentation in terms of women being in this space. Do you share the same sentiments?
No.
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 You feel like there is a lot of women,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there is enough representation?
I mean, I think there's a balance, but in the last few years or the last decade, I feel like women have been thriving in the art scene, well, in South Africa. I don't know globally, but in South Africa, there's women that have been thriving in the art industry. Mary Sibanda, Lady Scully, Zandile Shabalala,
Yes.
so yeah, there's just so many women that are
Mm-hmm.
just doing their thing in their own unique talents, in the art space. Quite inspiring as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the art industry has done a great job in, pushing forward women in the space.
Beautiful that you feel that way.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people that you'd say made your path to this career easier? The people that you'd say maybe held your hand
hmm
or, supported you in this journey.
First of all, God.
Beautiful.
Yes, I
I
would.
mean, he is the ultimate creator, right? The
Yes.
ultimate artist.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like God has guided my path so beautifully and just allowed me to choose and, laid guidance here and there, And I think without that, it would have been more difficult, if I didn't really listen. Um, yeah, also my family, my family has been a great support system. They're just like, do your thing. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, my gallery,
Awesome.
Matthew and MJ, and, they're such a great team. I met them when I was 23 and I'm 28 now, so they just always like, they have a lot of faith in me and they've always been supportive. So it's really great to have people around you, but also just, believing in yourself,
Yeah.
can generate that energy around you. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So I know with your work, it explores a number of themes, like we spoke previously, mental health, phobias. But for me, specifically, what stood out, it was you exploring the female body and you using the color red a lot, which of course I wore this dress
Yes, I
for you
noticed, and
specifically.
I love it.
And I was like, when
Yeah.
I go to your page, I was like, there's a lot of red here. And
Yes.
I'm noticing a lot of the body in your work. So what is the significance behind that?
With the physical body, it was something that was an early interest in my work. Um, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts around that. Um, just thinking about how your psychological state can affect your body, whether you're in a season of depression or you're in a season of trauma in your life, and how that shows up in your body is quite interesting. So I was really curious to paint about that and to explore that and do some research on that and see how does that show up as a visual language in the paintings, and red was such a significant color because it represented so many different emotives, right? Whether sadness or trauma or sensuality as a woman, or femininity, red is like a very dynamic color in terms of language, emotional language, but also psychological language, so I chose that as a symbol, to allow that to work through the paintings, and it happened to do so cohesively, and yeah, so that's how it worked out.
That's beautiful. So like does any of that draw reference from you personally? And I mean, I'll ask this because sometimes that doesn't necessarily translate into a correlation. For instance, if somebody writes a song, it doesn't mean that, they are singing from or writing from their own perspective. It could be they are inspired by something else. Somebody writes a book, the character doesn't necessarily mean, the main character doesn't necessarily mean that's the writer, right?
Yeah.
So when you are painting, do you draw reference from your personal story, or it's just inspiration from different sources?
For me, I would say that it's a combination of, my 20s and what I've learned from observation, and what other women's stories have, told me, I think, just speaking from a general perspective, I think that women go through a lot, you
You
know.
do.
Yeah. So so I think, you know, we go through a lot of growing, you know, changes and pains, you know, and I really got so curious about that and very passionate about that, and I wanted to speak from that place, you know. And I am an observer naturally,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm an empath, you know, and I'm also quite hypersensitive to environments.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like look around me and what can, you know, what inspires me, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes I think that if I wasn't a painter, maybe I would have been an art therapist, you know,
Yeah.
because I do care a lot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to take in other people's emotions and feelings and experiences. And yeah, it just happened to show up in my work, you know, yeah.
And in your work, are you interested at all how your work is perceived? And I'm asking this because with art, and this is something that I touched on when we started this podcast, that we basically it is to find out what art is, but also you will always be in pursuit of the meaning of art. So are you at all concerned about the message that you encode in your art, how it will be decoded by your audience, or do you just let it up to them to deduce what the meaning is?
Oh, this question.
I'm sorry.
There was an answer that I was thinking about, but I'm like, because there is a way that my art has been perceived that I actually thought about this a week ago, and I was like, what does that actually mean, you know?
She's
Some
like, I didn't intend for that.
Yes, I didn't intend for that. You
Yeah.
know, some people look at the work and they were like, well, it's quite scary and it's really intense. And, you know, it just makes me feel, you know, wow, like
That's not, yeah.
that was not the intention. I think for
Interesting.
me, I'm expressing emotions, you know, I'm expressing deep emotions, you know, whether fear or, you know, sadness or whatever. That's what I was expressing in my work. It is not to show, it is not a character of like fighting in my work, but it is just to express real, like, human condition, really, and what humans go through, you know. And it's not always going to be happy and, you know, bright, you know, and all that stuff, you know. There's a different responsibility for all of us artists, you know, to speak on different things. And for that season, mine was to express those emotions and for what people are going through in different seasons, you know, because we do go through seasons where life is not great, you know, and it is not, you know, rainbows and sunshine, you know. And I think that's what happens in life, you know. And it also allows us to be able to be open about it and be honest, so that we can start like the healing process, you know.
Correct.
And I think that was like the intention, to say, as a human being, you're allowed to have your emotions and you're allowed to express yourself, so that you can heal, you know. You can start to heal from that, you know. So my work, the true, you know, intention behind it was to also break down that healing ground, you know, and the paintings, to say, you know, you're going through this, you can go through that, and then you can go through this, you know. But you start by naming, you know, your feelings, you naming your situation or whatever, you know. And then yeah, but yeah, it's not a Halloween.
But then now, is that something that you feel like you are struggling with? The fact that you cannot control how your audience views your work. And do you feel like, because that is out of your control, would you just let go, or would you still strive to make sure that the intended meaning is basically deduced by the audience?
I mean, we do, when we have exhibitions, we write down our artist statements, which is to explain the general idea of the work. Everything after that it really is up to the audience, and
You have
it's
no
not.
control over
Yeah, I have
it.
no
Once it's
control.
out there, it's out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my role is to basically give the audience like what my intentions were with the artworks, and after that, if it's perceived a different way, it's okay. It's not a battlefield. It's okay. And I think as much as anything can be arts, we do have to allow people to feel however they need to feel about the work.
Absolutely.
And I think if someone is able to still have any reaction to the work, it is still a very good thing.
You've done your part.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, and the art itself has done its part.
Exactly.
Because I feel like there's you, the artist, and there's the art itself.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It's so interesting that you mentioned that because, when I started my career, I was in a place where that was like such a role for me to express my work in such a sense, not to just speak about like the good parts, but like the really heavy stuff, that the human experience goes through, but I feel like now we're evolving so much, and it's changing so much, so I would probably tell the audience that you're not going to see so much red in the work.
Oh no,
Yeah.
what color am I wearing next?
I don't know. We'll have to see, we'll have to see. You have to come to the exhibitions, guys.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like, and I'm going to be hitting my 7-year professional practice next year.
Beautiful.
So, and I'm working with a new gallery. So yeah, like there's so many changes. We're in a very different era, different ideas, we're growing. And I think when it comes to growing, there's changes, and there's like seasons, and this season seems to be more calmer, but the same style, the same artist, but just a different perspective.
I love it for you. So I was listening to the interview that you did on Metro FM, and one of the questions that they asked you was, "Is there money in art?"
Yes.
And you said yes.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you said yes because for a very long time we held this idea that there isn't money in art, and obviously perpetuating the stereotypes of the struggling artist. Tell us more about how you make money in art.
Yeah, there is money in arts. They'll just start there. But
Thank you.
Yeah, it is, I don't want to, place, misconceptions or mislead people. It is tough. There are struggles, it's life, it's struggles. And there is a growing structure in the art space in South Africa, and I think that, artists do make money from sales, from exhibitions, from group shows, art fairs. There's different avenues to make money, whether you end with a sale at the end of the exhibition is it's not always guaranteed, but there is opportunities to make money, and we do have like an amazing group and team and society and industry of different parts that work to make this whole system come together, so there is a lot of possibilities for artists, and I think it's all about having the right team and also having a lot of faith in yourself, being determined, disciplined, working smart, working hard, having faith, and and just knowing that it is possible for you to get into the door. And I don't think having these negative thoughts and words and ideas of I can't do this, or this isn't possible, or I can't make money out of this, but there's a whole world of art galleries out there. There's so many galleries around the world, and art curators and artists, and art fairs that happen each and every year. Big galleries and worth billions. So it is possible. It is very, very possible. There's art auctions that are always announcing that this artist just sold for 16 million, and yeah, so it's possible to make money and to have value, in your career. It just takes time. Yeah.
Speaking of values, talk to us about the process of valuation when it comes to your art, and I guess the importance of being endorsed and sponsored by corporates or galleries or all of these people that are paramount to the process of valuation.
Yeah, it's all about, it's a combination of those things, right? Your value as an artist, the value of your work, the time that you put in, and whether or not your work is in demand at the time, and there's a season, right? The season of art fairs and exhibitions and commissions and things that you are also capable of doing, and I would definitely say, as an artist, create different avenues for yourself, and this is advice for myself as well.
Okay.
Create different avenues for yourself, not just one medium and one way and one understanding of doing things, but create different avenues. If you're a painter, try sculpture work, or get into printmaking, or try different things. And yes, collaborate where you can collaborate, and see where that takes you. But don't be, especially for self-taught artists, I would definitely say don't be so one way about it, and get caught up in the one thing that you want to do, but explore different things and be multi, functional and talented or whatever. If you'd like, also this is unsolicited advice, if you would like, this is something that I would say. But yeah, I think it's good to just be able to have that freedom as an artist to say that you're making money from the thing that you're very passionate about and very skilled at and very gifted at, and if it's your purpose, it'll surely work out. Yeah.
And your work has been shown in various art galleries and exhibitions. How does that come about?
For me, it's also just been exposure. Just networking, doing a lot of networking in my early career, and going to different exhibitions and having gallery representation as well has been good. And social media for me has been pretty major for myself in my early career. I would post a lot on Facebook. I would post a lot of my work and me just working in studio, and that allowed for the networking part to happen, for people come up to me and say, hey, we would like to show your work here, and they are there, and it just became a domino effect. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I know that about 2 years ago you ventured into sculpturing. How's that going, and what is the difference between sculpturing and painting for you?
I started sculpture making because I was doing painting for a very long time, and it really just became, I just got stuck. I really got stuck, and I just thought, oh my goodness,
where to from here?
I had an artist block, and I got really frustrated, and I'll be very honest,
It happens.
I got so frustrated, and I just needed to just take a break, and I just started taking ceramic classes, and it was just meant for me to just go there and make bowls and make bowls.
You started it as a hobby too.
And then it ended
up being something that you really vibe with.
I know. Now I have to find a new hobby. yeah, it's like I started it as just a way for me to just take a break from paintings and try something new, you know. So I would highly recommend that, you know, to any artist. Try something new, try something new. And yeah, I was just meant to make bowls and things and experiment and just like get used to it and get the hang of it. And I was like, I really want to make a sculpture. I just don't know how, where to start. And I met this really great ceramicist, and she said, okay, just sketch something out and let's start from there, you know. And yeah, I started making sculptures there, and it's been quite a journey. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I really am, and I would like to definitely continue to do that and see how it goes.
How different is the creation
Yes.
of sculpturing versus painting?
It's just widely different.
Really?
Yeah, working on paper or canvas is just, you know, it's very straightforward, right? And then during ceramic sculpture, it's unpredictable, but it's also fun, and you get to experiment, but you don't know what the end result is going to look like because, you know, with ceramic, you're working with, you know, clay, right? And clay can, once you put it into the kiln, which is like this baking method, it does tend to shrink and look different from what you've created, you know. And so there's that element, or it can break, you know, depending on how you've built the structure. So it's quite technical, and it's not just like, you know, painting. It's not like very straightforward with painting for me. You know, it's quite technical, you know, not that painting is not technical, but yeah, so it really had to take my time to learn each and every, you know, step on how to make ceramic sculptures. And yeah, from molding, so there's hand building. And there's throwing. Throwing is for plates and bowls and things of that sort. And then hand building is where you work directly with the clay, and you build it step by step. You build the sculpture step by step. So it is a very like hands-on experience. And yeah, like I said, it's quite unpredictable. If you do something wrong, or if the clay is too wet, or if it's too heavy on the bottom or the top, it's like building a house, you know, it could just fall apart, you know. So it taught me a lot about patience and just, you know, taking my time with things. So I did apply that to my work as well in my paintings. And just like, you know, that same technicality and just seeing how it goes. But yeah, it's very different.
Interesting. What other forms of art do you like?
At the moment, that's a good question.
You like writing or like singing, dancing?
I do like singing at home.
In the shower?
In the shower. I was gonna say textile, but I have not tried textile art.
Okay.
But I've always been curious about it. I also love and I'm obsessed with culinary arts.
Oh, nice.
But I have not tried it yet. I went to it like it was like the most random day. I just decided to go to an open day.
Okay.
At a culinary school.
And
I was
how
like,
did that go?
It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and just because I've always been curious about it, you know, and you know, in case I ever decide to do something else. But yeah, I've always been very curious because I think there's an art as well to cooking and, you know, making things and designing a plate and the presentation and, you know, creating all these imaginative ingredients and putting them together. That is so beautiful to me, you know. And I grew up like watching Siba and, you know, Jamie Oliver and all these different chefs. So I've always been fascinated with it. So I think that's something that I really like. And when it comes to the fine art space, yeah, I mean, I love painting. I just,
That's your passion.
That's my passion. Yeah.
And what else is there for you in the future or even now? What is it that is interesting you, that is taking up your time, that is something that you also want to do in the future? What can
Yeah.
we look forward to in terms
Yeah.
of your art?
I do think that I still have a long way to go. It's such a process, you know, because I have all these different goals and, you know, new goals now. You know, now that we've hit that mark where, you know, I have established everything that I wanted to do 6 years ago, you know,
That's
which is
beautiful.
amazing, right? Thank you.
It's not everybody that gets to say that,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's great.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
always been like, I want to be with that gallery, and I want to do this, and I want to
Look at you.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now I have new goals, and I have new ideas and aspirations, and so that's going to be the goal for the next 6 years. See where things go. You know, hopefully on a bigger scale. You know, more creative ideas on a bigger scale. And yeah.
Are you able to share just one tiny bit of information? Just
Yeah, I gave you a very vague answer, right?
Very vague. You're not slipping through me.
Yeah,
like that. Just one.
Just a little.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything because there's nothing that has been set in stone yet. These are all just ideas, you know. But I would just love to start, you know, working with museums, you know, and establishing myself on a global scale.
It's beautiful. It brings me to my last question, which is a game. Again, when I say a game, please relax.
Is it 30 seconds?
It's not 30 seconds. It's not 30 seconds at all.
Yeah.
It's just basically a fantasy, which can also be a reality, right? So if you had to, I'm just going to ask you 3 questions, right? If you had to share a canvas and a paint with somebody, a painter, who would it be? 2, if somebody had to paint a portrait of you, who would that be? 3, if you had to showcase your work at any museum, any art gallery, any exhibition in the world, where would that be?
Oh, I love these.
Let's start with first. If you had to share a canvas or a paintbrush with somebody, who would that be?
I would have to say Shabalala Self. She's an amazing Black female artist. She's American. And she's just doing amazing on a global scale. She's doing amazing. She just had a solo exhibition in Australia, and she's just, you know,
a trailblazer.
Yeah, a trailblazer. Yeah. So that's the kind of artist I look towards and look forward to hopefully having my own path like that, you know. Your second question is, who would I?
A person that would paint a portrait of you.
I would say Zandile Shabalala. Yeah.
Why?
She makes beautiful Black portraitures. So I think, you know, she would do an amazing job. But I think she just paints herself at the moment.
Yeah.
Or is inspired by her own self. But yeah, she's also very talented, you know, very beautiful. Yeah.
Well, lastly, if you had to showcase your work at any museum, art gallery, or exhibition, which one would it be?
I would have to say Pilar Curious Gallery. You know, yeah, they're a gallery based in London. They have a beautiful roster of artists. You know, so yeah, I would definitely like to show with them one day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, cool. I like this game.
No, this game is basically a game of manifestations. So this is what's gonna happen.
You know,
we'll
listen.
Just be there to see
I'll call you
witness it when it happens.
Yes, I'll definitely call you and be like, oh, imagine what just happened. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for your time.
Oh, this was nice. Thank you.
Really, is there anything else that you'd like to say to our audience?
First of all, thank you for having me. This was such a pleasure and an honor. I really enjoyed it. You know, I've never felt this comfortable in a while.
Really?
You know, I'm always nervous at interviews.
This is home.
Yeah, you know, like there's a couch, you know, I'm hanging out.
No.
Yeah. And yeah, please follow me on my Instagram, Yolanda Mazwana at Arts. And Yolanda Mazwana Arts. And then yeah, just look out for the exhibitions we're going to be having. We're going to be having a group show in December with Kamala Turpin Gallery, which will be our opening. And then we'll be having the Invest Day in Cape Town. If anyone's happy to make it, that'd be great. Otherwise, just look out in social media. And yes, guys, please collect arts and, know more about arts and just, be adverse about it. It would be just the greatest thing for us to come together and support the arts.
Thank you so much, Yolanda.
Thank you.
Thank you also for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.